what is the different in your former position and like in the new position? This is just a curiosity question.
Sure. So basically, earlier I was a consultant. So what happens in consulting is that you are kind of consulting different firms into improving their processes, identifying their inefficiencies, or just creating a new strategy for them. So even though it's like really impactful work, sometimes companies kind of turn over because of your strategy. I just feel that that level of you can say ownership does not come out because it's not your firm, and in the end, the impact is also not credited to you most of the times. So these are two major things which I felt that could be done better in a product firm when it's my own firm kind of, and that is the difference. It's so in consulting, the few things that happen are you get really diverse experience. For example, I can get into operations, I can get into product management, I can get into finance. There are multiple type of clients that you can get. In product firm, that obviously reduces because you are working with your firm, so you'll essentially be working in that particular industry.
So I think there is a lot of traveling also in your vocation, in your line of vocation. I recently saw one of your video that you are staying near Rani Khet, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tell your experience something with regards to that.
So I think consulting in general exposes you to a lot of traveling. My recent travelings, however, have been all like on me because it was not because of the projects that I was traveling. It was just kind of staycations we wanted to take and some kind of break. So that is how it was. But I think that consulting in general entails a lot of traveling. It can be domestic, it can be international. You travel for clients, you travel for trainings. So there's a lot of that to do. Yeah.
That's amazing to know. I like to, I was just researching what questions to ask from you, and then I think I kind
Yeah.
of binge watched some of your YouTube video, the Iceland one, and
Oh wow.
and the mock interviews. So there was
Uh-huh.
it was an amazing experience to watch them. I mean, the mock interview especially. You kind of built a
Yeah.
real, yeah, a good setup.
Yeah, I mean, so the way how YouTube goes for me right now is that initially it was because a lot of people kept on asking me similar questions about the CAT exam, about how to prepare, etc. So I thought I'll just put it in a few videos so that people can reuse it. It can be reused. I don't have to say the same things again and again to everyone. And then I felt that it can be explored even further to let people know what happens after an MBA, and then people got really interested in my own life. So I put in few new things, etc. And I also felt that the mock interviews were specifically needed because people can read transcripts, they can hear about how to prepare for an interview, but kind of seeing an actual interview happen almost exactly how it did, that really affects people and makes them realize that these are the questions that could be asked.
Yeah, it is a great initiative, and I also like, I'm also I was a biotechnology student, just like you.
Uh-huh.
I also switched my
Okay.
line of career. I'm currently pursuing
Wow.
MBA, distance
Uh-huh.
course from NMIMS. So yeah,
Okay.
the interview was helpful for me also.
Wow. That's great. Yeah. Congratulations on your getting into your
Thanks,
MBA college.
thanks a lot. So like, first, I would like you to break certain myths that students
Yeah.
generally have with regards to IIMs and IITs.
Yeah. Okay. Just give me a minute. There's a disturbance. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. Hi.
Go ahead.
Yes, I think if you want to record the question again, you can just ask
No,
it.
no, I'll edit it.
Okay, sure. Uh, so see, I think there's one major thing that people feel about IITs and IIMs is that the life is very, very different in there. It's like, that every one of the students studying in IIT IIMs would be so full of themselves and they would not be approachable and that they have it very easy in life. So these are like a few things that people take for granted, everyone who's outside. But I actually feel that so when I was in these colleges, it is that the entire crowd is in that college, right? So you cannot really be full of yourself. You're not different. You're no different than anyone around you. And that is why, as the society makes us feel, I don't think that we generally feel that way. And everyone, all of the students, everyone, all of the alums would be more approachable than you would think because people feel that they are from IIT and why will they even talk to us, but that does not really happen. I think that is one thing that society can
I mean, we
understand.
have a live example.
Yeah, I mean that is just something that I feel that everyone feels.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, outside the nutshell, we feel, but
Hmm.
when we kind of talk, like, because from my college also, many of my friends and seniors have got into IIMs and they are still in contact with me. So
Yeah,
that's, yeah. So the inner notion is not like that, but the bigger society, yeah, absolutely thinks like
it does. And I think it happens more because you think it or not, life is a little bit more busier when you are in IIT and IIM, and even after that. So that is why if I'm not able to reply to someone for say 2 3 days, then that notion automatically comes in, and the next time they'll probably not message.
that.
But I think that is a more me thing. I just reply when I'm sure that I have something, some good message to reply about. A lot of people do, have regular conversations with the social circle.
So continuing with this question, how will you summarize your 2 years at IIM?
I think my learnings from IIM were really different. So because I had been through an IIT system, IIMs are at least somewhat similar in terms of how the campus is, how the academics work, etc. My take or my learnings from there were more like that I saw a lot of diversity in there. So there were people from all different walks of life, like from different streams, from different work experiences, from different kind of work
Yeah.
experiences, different amount of work experiences, freshers coming from here and there, people from even abroad who had studied abroad. And it was such a great mix to actually learn, because earlier I used to just be in a community of IITians or someone similar. So we had very similar thought processes, very similar ideas, and learning all of the new ideas, new thought processes, new perspectives, and I am really opened, I think, my mind in itself, and made me receptive to newer ideas, and to also accept that my idea or my thinking might not be the best at every point in time. That was like a superb learning for me, and I think that is necessary for a corporate life, because you will come across people who are totally thinking opposite to what you are, and you have to at least be receptive to them. Even if you do not accept everything, you have to be receptive and try to understand what they are trying to say. That This soft skill was, I think, really amazing, and this helps in leadership, this helps in teamwork, this helps in a lot of things.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the IIM life tone seems to be like, unhealthy as it is
Yeah.
shown in movies or, videos. So yeah, thanks for enlightening us with that. And talking about your corporate life, so
Mhm.
has been there any incident where you were made feel inferior because of being a woman? And like, how did you handle that situation?
Okay, so in my previous firm, it was like, so we had a consulting domain. And in those, I think with around 12, 13 guys, there were only two females. And one of them was a little bit senior, so she did not used to hang out with us. Even though they're like really great friends, really amazing friends. But I think when it came to work, the number of times that they went to each other for support, for guidance, would be less than the number of times they might come to me, even if I was performing similar.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that was one. And maybe because it was maybe probably just because there were so less females in the firm that they did not have a benchmark or something. And then sometimes they were very, very late nights. It was that, I had to go home early and all of these things. And I think all of that made it into what it was. But this is just one thing that I feel. I in I don't think that I did something specific in general. I started talks of my own projects with them, which in turn then reciprocated, and then we became comfortable having really intellectual conversations as well.
Mhm. So with your answer, it's relevant that there is still uh, like kind of imbalance in female and male ratio at workplaces. I mean, a healthy ratio would be 50-50 if
Yeah.
we, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something, I think that's the message of this like podcast in whole.
Yeah, it happens. And it's like, even though a lot of firms are trying to get gender equality, then the notion in campuses, etc., where the placements happen, is like, if you're a girl, it's easier for you to get in because the firm is trying to get gender equality. Even though the quality of candidates overall might be similar, but there's always this notion that as a girl, it's easier for you to get in these particular streams because they want very
So is
equal number of
that
guys and
the
girls.
actual case? I wonder.
Uh, that See, there might be a slight truth to it, but
Mhm.
I don't think that big firms really compromise on quality. So it's not that they'll just accept someone just because there's a like she's a girl, and it might be a little tougher for guys, because if they want to maintain that ratio, then they have to close their number at some particular number, right? But then again, you cannot really say that the girl who came with me is inferior in whatever means to what I am.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in your opinion, what is more important, motivation or consistency? What parameter have helped you personally to upscale your career?
Yeah. Okay, so like this is something that I am learning through the years, and I recently wrote like quite a few LinkedIn posts on consistency specifically. What happened with me throughout was that during my childhood, my parents ensured that I was consistent just because they wanted me to score well. Then, in turn, that created a lot of motivation in terms of that I wanted to score better myself. And it kind of went like that for a while. But I realized probably during my JE preparation days or IIT days, that there will be some days where you are really not motivated enough, right? Where there's a dip in your motivation, but still you have to go ahead with it, because those are the days that will kind of define your success, right? If you stop when you're not motivated enough, then your results will not show as they will if you're consistent enough. So I believe the discipline and consistency is definitely one thing that one needs to develop. It's very tough to do it. Even I'm struggling with it right now. But I think that is much more important than just having motivation. Everyone can get motivation from external sources, internal sources, sometime or the other. But to sustain it for a month, for 2 months, for probably a year or a lifetime, that is very difficult. That will not happen without discipline and consistency.
I agree. I agree. I completely agree. Even I have been struggling. Like, just take a simple example. As a freelance content writer, it is very essential to post daily on LinkedIn with a
Yeah,
particular intention, like intention behind that post. And
right.
yeah, I've been struggling to maintain a consistency over LinkedIn. So, like, is there
Yeah.
any, like, are you following some books or tips and tricks to maintain a consistent workflow?
Yeah, so what I do, one, I read Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is an amazing book to read. The second thing that I do is that, so for example, I try to post once on LinkedIn. I then also post one video on YouTube. I post one Instagram reel. So that is like weekly. This is my weekly target. And along with job, it becomes very difficult because you sometimes don't find the energy to do things. So what I do, for example, if I'm just lying down in bed and I have some idea about, what LinkedIn post I could write or what reel I could create, I would just write that down in a message and put it in a notes place, so that next time when I have the energy, or when I think that okay, now this needs to be created, I actually have the pre-work done already. So then it becomes less of an inertia or less of a roadblock for me to overcome, and that is how I will get it done. It's still difficult, so I try to also identify times when I will do it. So for LinkedIn, I have like I'll post it on Wednesday, Thursday, whenever I feel like. Instagram also I have like similar Tuesday, Wednesday type of things. With YouTube, I have a fixed day, so I have to create something by then. But it's just like that. If I have my content ready at least initially, then it becomes a little easier for me to create the final version of the content.
Okay, I mean that's insightful. Thanks for sharing. Even I've been trying something around that, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think your approach is effective, and I'll try it. So coming on to your
Definitely.
family, you have
Mm-hmm.
like often uh, like said on social media platforms like the importance of your family and how your family has immensely helped towards your
Yeah.
success. So I would like to know how exactly your family has helped you to become a woman that you are today.
Mm-hmm. I think with my parents, since my childhood, I don't think that they ever saw me as like, how a son or a daughter should be different, ever. They would always treat me like a child who needs to perform, right? And who can be very successful. And then that is how they pushed me around in terms of, just making me understand very basic concepts at initial stages of my life. And I think initial few years, I was so intelligent in my own class just because of the effort that they were putting in, that my school was kind of surprised sometimes. It was all because of the kind of efforts that my mom and my dad were able to put at that time. After a while, when I grew up, when I was, for example, giving JE or giving the CAT exam, I have a younger brother who's like 14 years younger to me. So it was that obvious that he would want to come, he would want to disturb, he would want to play with me. And my mom was so careful in ensuring that that does not happen. I do not get distracted. And my family has been like that. Like during my CAT preparation also, I would say that these 3 hours, I want zero disturbance because I'm giving a mock test. So everyone in my house, even though we were in a flat, everyone in my house would sit in the room that was farthest to mine, would talk in the slow, lowest voice possible, and would ensure that there's no disturbance at all. Even if the maid would come to do work, she would either not be allowed in my room, or she would do it so silently that I would not even realize it. So these are the small things that a family can probably do. Just support them, even if you cannot support someone in content. For example, my parents were able to support me in content when I was a child, of course. But after a while, if they cannot support me in content every single time, at least they can support you in ensuring that you're consistent enough, in ensuring that you get the minimum distractions possible and you're able to focus the most.
That's so beautiful to hear. And I feel so happy that you are a part of such a family. I mean, I think you must be grateful for that because I can already feel your
Yeah.
energy. So,
Yeah.
so how has CAT evolved over 3 years? Like, what are the major differences that you find now when you are consulting students?
I think especially last year, CAT became for 2 hours. That was the biggest thing that people were facing. Even initially, I think in 2018 or 19, once there was the quant section was a little bit more difficult. But I feel that overall, what I try to tell anyone who's preparing for CAT is that what they're testing is your aptitude, and that will never change. So the kind of questions that are coming, they might be difficult, they might be easier. That just means that you will take variable time, a differential time to solve them. That does not mean that it essentially changes what you have to study. So whatever, whether it is 2 hours, whether it is 3 hours, all you have to focus on is that every individual question you are able to do in some particular amount of time. Every individual question, you know whether I have to do it or not do it, because that is a key in CAT. And you have to manage your time accordingly, according to how many questions you have solved. So that is the crux of it. Even though things change, timings might change, questions or difficulties might change, the crux is that they are testing your aptitude. The syllabus more or less remains the same. So even if other things are changing, I think if you solve or if you practice on a per question basis, things will not really be that different for you.
So I have attended like the CAT examination
Mm-hmm.
once in my life, and yeah, so the experience was like overall good. But I mean, I know you find the aptitude part very easy, but for
Yeah.
me it was it is tough. Not tough,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I of course, obviously, 100% I require more practice. But I see people who have natural acumen of solving
Yeah.
physical problems. So I don't have that natural acumen. I'm more inclined towards
Mm-hmm.
storytelling and stuff like that. So what's
Yeah.
your take on that? Students who don't have like natural acumen, how they can tackle these situations?
Mm-hmm. So see, there's one thing on having natural acumen. You would always see people with inherent ability to sing well, to dance well, to talk well, right? That is something that happens with aptitude also. So there'll be some people who will be great at aptitude since their childhood, and they will not really need to put in as much effort as someone else would. Now, for example, if my husband sings and I sing, I will have to practice like 100 times more than him, or even 1,000 times more than him to sing as well. And even then, I don't think that I can. So it's just a matter of something that is inherently there, right? But like everything, like maybe singing, maybe dancing, like everything, if you practice enough, you can reach that ability, but it takes differential time for everyone. So it totally depends on where your starting point is. For example, my starting point, frankly, in mocks was somewhere around 95 to 99 percentile in the initial few mocks, which made it clear that, okay, I can do it. It's just how much effort I want to push to whatever target I wanted to reach, right? And if someone is starting, say, at 85 percentile, they can feel similar things. They might have to practice a little bit more. If someone is starting at 75, they might have to invest more time in basics and solving basic questions and then practicing, continuously practicing mocks. If someone is at 55, they might need almost the entire 12 months to practice about it. They might need to give more hours every single day. If someone is at 35, 25 or somewhere, I think that sometimes you also need to realize that there might be some things that are not really for you. So it's not compulsory for everyone to do everything. Everything is not made for everyone. Like if I want to become a singer, that is not me. I cannot become a singer. I have to accept that. And it's completely fine. I can be something else. So it's not compulsory that everyone has to do an MBA, everyone has to give the CAT exam. If you feel that you are scoring 30 and even after 6 months of practice you're still scoring 50, then it's completely fine to let go of it. That is what CAT also tells in like the minute forms of questions, that if something is too difficult and taking too much time, you can let go of it.
Yeah, that I mean, coming from an expert, yeah, like you, I think it these must be words of relaxation for, I think, for a lot of students. So, like when you were declared as the topper of CAT 2017, you were the first woman to score 100 percentile. And you got a lot of media coverage at that time. I remember I was in
Yeah.
class 11th or 12th. So, yeah. So there was, yeah, I mean, all the channels were filled with your news and the social media was also filled. So, after some point, the media coverage, must have started becoming feeble. So at that point, like how did it affected you? How did the media coverage affected you? And was there a deep sense of realization when the media coverage started becoming light and it started deteriorating?
So what happened with me was I was thankfully in Delhi when my result was declared. I think that even in terms of the cumulative score, I scored the highest amongst all the students that were there. There are a lot of reasons because of the media, because of which the media coverage was so high. And what happened initially was that my result was declared. For 1 week, I could not do anything because there were so many calls, so many options to, just give interviews. I had so many things to do. And then I decided that I'll take a break. I want to give my interviews first, clear those, and then give the rest. So that is what I did. Around, I think March is when I gave a lot of interviews. April was when that I got married. So I did not really put in a lot of attention to what are the interviewers doing, etc. But because of all the media coverage, at least in my batch, at least in 2017 CAT aspirants, I think the word was really out. And people were reaching out to me every hour or so, either on LinkedIn, Facebook, Quora, Instagram, here and there. And what I did was I put out a few strategies, a few answers on Quora, which really helped people. And it kind of shot up my followers to up to 32,000 people. And that is how people ensured that, by sharing that again and again, by, viewing that content again and again, people still had that memory that, yes, Chhavi Gupta was there and her strategies are available over here. Even after doing that, I think I kept on getting a lot of messages. That is when I decided that okay, I'll start this YouTube channel. I'll just answer these individual queries that I'm getting, which might eventually link to what I have written or what I've said already. But at least there might be some nuances which people really want answered. And it will be good for me to just let them know, because just make them feel that there's someone to guide them also. So that is how I started the YouTube channel, and that is how it has been. And I think that I was really grateful to all the media coverage, because that is how people remember me. But I think that I thankfully at right times also invested in the different social media platforms, ensured that I was consistent enough and putting in enough effort to help students around. And that is how I think they will remember me. They should remember me.
Absolutely, you have left a legacy behind yourself, and that's the reason you are still receiving a lot of interview requests. And your answers,
Oh,
I think before that also I was following you on Quora, so you have a very good sense of storytelling, and that was the probable reason that people were already following you. You had
yeah.
5,000 plus following on Quora. So yeah, I have been reading your content from a very long time, and but yeah, this is the moment for me when I'm like connecting with you one to one. But I would like again a curiosity question. This might sound funny. So like how do these media house like Aastak, and I remember Aastak has like kind of flooded your house and they were interviewing your parents if I'm not wrong. So like how did
Yeah.
you kind of
So
reach out to these students, and how like and what was the the effect on your parents, and how did, they dealt with all this?
yeah. So I think there were two ways that it happened. One was Time Institute in itself, because I was a full-time student. They informed a few media houses, which then in turn contacted my mom. And my mom, also being an excellent extrovert, she really responded well to all of them while I was at office. So she ensured that she took care of, ensured that they will get their interview, they will get their chance to get the statements, etc. So she ensured all of that. Then again, my hometown being Jaipur, my entire family is kind of have these, you can say, these groups, these big groups that you have of your family, etc. So the news went out, and there were a lot of local newspapers like Dainik Bhaskar, specifically in Rajasthan, gave a kind of a half a page article about me, and that is how they reached out to my family and all. That is, I think, how they reached out. My parents were, I don't think that they were like ever deterred on doing this. My mom was really happy and very, very proud of me to, get this particular achievement. And yeah, I think I had a great time.
Yeah, I think it was a proud moment for especially women's fraternity all over the India. I
Yeah.
mean, it was, yeah. I clearly remember the headlines. It was, the first women who have scored, Indian women who have scored 100 percentile in CAT. So yeah, absolutely, you have left a legacy. And now, there is a notion like once you get into IITs and IIMs, your life becomes too easy. And you have been
Mhm.
in both of them. So
Yeah.
what is your take on that?
Yeah. So, okay, this is something that I feel that a lot of people do feel. And this is just something which never is true. Okay. So since your childhood, you might have heard that get like excellent marks in 10th and you'll be set. You're never really set in life. If you want to succeed, if you want to actually outgo your own achievements, you always have to work hard. So whether after if I go to BCG, the firm in itself has a lot of expectations from me because they know that I've been through this and this is the base.
Mhm.
People, what might be like the aspirant expectation would be the base then for some other people. And that is how you have to time and again outgrow the expectations that you create for yourself, that other people create for yourself. And the moment you become complacent is when everyone starts thinking that, okay, like this person is obviously has achieved a lot, but all of that becomes a past tense, and you really kind of stop achieving new things. And it totally depends on what kind of a person you are. But for someone like me, I don't think that I'll ever stop working hard just because I've done it in the past. And yeah, I think that just continues. And I actually again wrote a LinkedIn post on this about this. And I just mentioned that, whatever college you're in, even if you're not an IIT, not an IIM,
I remember
if you
that
really
post
work hard.
uh, got viral
Yeah,
on LinkedIn.
yeah, it did. Like, it's just obvious, right? If you really work hard, even in a tier 2, tier 3 college, the kind of opportunities that you get being in the top 5, top 10% are totally different than the kind of opportunities that other people will be getting. So whenever you want to be successful, whenever you want to just outgrow everyone else, just show that you have that kind of hard work or consistency or discipline, I think you can do it anywhere, whether it is in college, whether it is in job, etc. To
Yeah.
that post, actually, I got a lot of flack in terms of saying that, what about the rest 95%? Do people not care about it? And it was pretty weird because the thing that I was trying to say is it does not matter where you are right now. If you want to be called that, officially the successful thing, that is, there are people who keep on achieving things, people who have a lot of opportunities out there for them. I think you can just start working hard at any point in time and you'll get that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, talking about the flag that you received, I think, I don't know because you received like 10,000. It must have reached 10,000 likes. The last time when I saw like it was around 6,000. So
Yeah, so I think on LinkedIn it was there. I think there's this engineer bro page on Facebook and Instagram. He shared, and there were 20, 30,000 likes and all of that over there. But the comments you would read if you get time. Oh God,
yeah,
like my mom read those comments and she was like, "What do people write?"
yeah, because the people who are getting motivated by you, they are mostly your silent readers, I believe. And yeah, the people who are like, I don't want to, just give them a label, but they are the one who are like commenting down there.
Yeah, but that you say is true for society in general, specifically Indian society. You will find less people who would appreciate openly. You will find more people who criticize openly, and that is a reason why a lot of people lose their confidence very initially, because criticism comes so easily to everyone, and they are very open to giving that particular feedback. But if you like someone, if you appreciate someone, so tough for us to actually give that positive feedback or appreciation to someone. That
think
I think is there
yeah,
in our
criticism
society.
also like kind of I mean, I don't know, it makes you toxic from inside. I like personally when
Yeah.
we no one is born confident, and we like ultimately grow and realize what is our purpose and so on, like going on the philosophical path. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think criticism makes you a lot toxic
It
from
does.
inside. So I mean, I think you cannot live it with it for a very long time.
Yeah, that is when you need to actually realize that validation from others might not be the best thing to estimate yourself. It is what you think of yourself and how you yourself are growing. Because validation from others depends on like 10, 20 different parameters. But how you are growing, what your journey has been is just on you. And that is how you can be self-proud.
Absolutely. I just wrote a LinkedIn post on this yesterday. Not, I just wrote a short quote, empowerment is much stronger than validation.
Yeah, that's true.
Lastly, I would love to know the next glass ceiling that you are willing to break. What message you would like to give to young girls and women who are dreamers through this platform?
Yeah. So I think I recently, as you mentioned, I recently switched from like a very stable Boston Consulting Group consultancy to a startup product manager role. That I think in itself was something like going from a very stable, very risk-free place and career path to something that is unknown, a team that was just like 10 people. But sometimes in life you have to give yourself that kind of freedom to do things that you like, to do what you want rather than what society wants, because a lot of women, a lot of girls just tend to do things the way the society wants, get married at this age, have a kid at this age, you should stop your career at this age. I don't know, like 10 different things. The society has a way too many expectations from a girl compared to a guy, right? And most of us do give in to it at some point or the other. But like when you feel that, and that is where education and career really becomes very important. When you feel that you're independent on yourself, when you're not really dependent on someone to have a good livelihood, that is when you can really take your decisions, stand on what you want to stand on. Definitely take opinions from people, definitely understand from your mentors and people who guide you. But you are at least able to be responsible for your own decisions, and you can at least take that level of ownership and responsibility. So I feel that for every woman and girl out there, ensure that your education, or even if now careers are beyond education as well. So whatever careers you are pursuing, ensure that you reach a self-sufficient stage, because the society will try its best to not let you do that, to ensure you're either dependent on your father or your husband for every single thing that is there. But ensure you reach a self-dependent phase. You become independent enough to take your own decisions and then live a life that you want to live.
Thanks a lot for this empowering message. And I really enjoyed having a conversation with you. And I hope that
Same
you
here,
also have,
Khushi.
yeah, had the
Yeah.
same experience. I mean, it was a different conversation, and I'll really cherish this conversation forever.